I dreamed a dream of a godless age, so I slaughtered them all in a burst of rage. Hello, Internet! Welcome to Tales Showcase, where we're not just content being bad at singing, we are determined to make you suffer through it. I'm your host, the Watcher of New Earth. Well, we're back after a brief break, and what better way to celebrate than with another Thorsday? And today we're going to continue looking at the God Butcher arc.
For those of you who don't remember, I'll catch you up. The story is told from 3 different time periods. In the past, Thor is still being held captive and tortured by Gorr the God Butcher. Modern Thor has just found out that Gorr is on the planet Kronos, where he's killed all but one time god. And in the distant future, old Thor surrenders, unable to fight, only to be suddenly confronted by his younger, modern self.
Because you don't need friends if you can team up with yourself. And with all that out of the way, let's get started. This is Thor, God of Thunder, number 5.
The comic begins with the God Butcher stepping into a giant vat of blood from all the time gods that he's just murdered, this being in an attempt to time travel.
This wasn't his first choice, but slaughtering an entire species was easier than finding a phone booth.
Gorr submerges, all the while recounting how, as a child, he was taught to fear gods, and how he's resented them at how they never came to his people's aid. He then goes on to talk about how he was taught that the universe came to existence after the first god became distraught at his loneliness. However, Gorr, now 14 billion years in the past, only finds the offspring of elder gods, as it gleefully creates misshapen creatures that are in excruciating pain. Gorr stares in contempt and lunges for the attack. My name is Gorr.
And I am the fastest man alive.
My name is Gorr, son of a nameless father.
So, midi-chlorians?
Gorr kills the young god as he tells of his dream of a godless age. Gorr then returns to the present, clutching a giant heart in an admittedly cool shot.
I know. He's killed millions upon millions upon millions of people, and he literally just cut out an infant's heart. But what if equipped?
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
See? He's that much more likable.
His victory is short-lived, however, as Thor arrives and bludgeons him. We then cut to the past, where it seems like Thor is getting close to breaking. The God Butcher notices and tries to entice him by asking if there's anyone he hates that he can kill first.
Well, now that you mention it, there is this one idiot who's always cosplaying as a reindeer.
The Butcher is interrupted, however, as from the front of the cave storm in.
The Vikings, those gentle, quaint, fun-loving old charmers.
The action is now split between the past and present. In the past, the Vikings begin an all-out assault on the God Butcher as he tries, unsuccessfully, to tell them about his dream. Interestingly, he doesn't immediately attack those who came to Thor's aid, only doing so when he has no alternative. In the present, the Butcher savagely beats Thor, angrily demanding to know if Thor even remembers those Vikings who came to his rescue. As the Vikings keep the Butcher busy, Thor manages to break free and grabs his axe, then proceeds to cut the Butcher's arm off in one swing.
'Tis but a scratch.
With present-day Thor sufficiently subdued, the Butcher kills the last god of Kronos and prepares to step into the pool. Young Thor, however, is preparing to deal the final blow, while the God Butcher yells that he refuses to die. Before young Thor can kill him, the Butcher disappears in a flash of light. And in the present, the Butcher tells Thor to live for a very long time, so they may meet again, before disappearing into the vat. Thor, refusing to let him escape, plunges into the pool after him, reappearing thousands of years later in front of his older self, tying into the ending of the last issue. In the past, young Thor stands where the Butcher disappeared. The Vikings rejoice at their victory, celebrating at how their accomplishments will be remembered. Thor cuts them off, though, saying they are never to speak of this day again. The two Thors, meanwhile, have begun their fight against the Butcher's dogs, quickly overpowering them and causing a retreat. With the immediate danger gone, Thor asks the older Thor where the Butcher is, as he was just behind him. The old Thor calls him an idiot and says the Butcher had arrived 900 years prior. The Butcher's minions return to their master with the information of the new Thor, which fills him with glee as his plan is coming to fruition and he will soon kill both Thors. And the comic ends with the promise that the next issue will give us the origin of the Butcher.
Oh, cool. I hope it's not announced as a standalone movie, that starts out with a lot of hype and promise, but then we just don't hear about it for a really long time, except then we start hearing about all this behind-the-scenes drama and all the reshootings. Then they lose the directors, hire in another one, and it all just kind of brings down the hype, discourages people, until the point where it's a month before the movie's released, and no one's excited to see it. Because that would be dumb. Anyway, this comic is still great.
The art continues to be stunning, with every panel either bringing intense character emotion or gorgeous backgrounds. The story is also developing nicely, with this issue giving us more insight on the Butcher's motives, and it seems like more of that is on the way.
I have a couple more thoughts on the themes this story has and the character development that's going on, but maybe that's better left for when we finish the arc, kind of like a retrospective. But until then, stay tuned. As always, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time. This is the Watcher of New Earth, signing off.